And the streaming now.
Welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting of the Wellington Shire for the 3rd of October 2023. Members of the public gallery should note that Council records and publishes Council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of Council meetings to the broader Wellington community. These recordings are also archived and may be published on Council's website for viewing by the public or used for publicity or information purposes. At the appropriate times during the meeting, members of the gallery may address the Council, at which time their image, comments or submissions will be recorded. Members of the public who are not in attendance at the Council meeting but who wish to communicate with the Council via the online web form should lodge their questions or comments early in the meeting to ensure that their submissions can be dealt with at the end of the meeting. Please could gallery visitors, councillors and invited online attendees ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Wellington Shire Council acknowledges our offices are located on the traditional lands of the Gunai-Kurnai Nation. We pay our deep respects to their elders past, present and future and acknowledge their ongoing cultural and spiritual connections to their land and waters. Before I start, I'll just make sure. Councillor Ripper, can you see and hear me?
Mayor, I can see and hear you.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. We have two apologies today, Councillor Mackenzie and Councillor Stevens. Do we have any declarations of conflicts of interest? No? Before we start the rest of the meeting, I thought it's only something I should acknowledge is the wonderful effort that our volunteers have done to help the Wellington Shire residents. The terrible fire event that we've just experienced in many of our communities was horrific to see. Unfortunately, we did lose one house and our heart does go out to that resident that did lose his house. It is terrible to see any losses in an extreme weather event such as a fire event. Our residents are all safe, which is the best thing that we can actually have through a terrible event like this. We still do have some road closures, even though we have got this beautiful rain that has come to help with the fire event. It is still not over yet. We still have some issues in some of our communities that we need to work through, and there are still a few road closures. But it's been a horrific event. We have the rain here. Hopefully that doesn't develop to any flood event. It is welcomed by our farmers though in our farming community. It has been very dry, so they will welcome the rain, which is fantastic. But thank you again to our wonderful volunteers. The CFA have been amazing. They've come from far ride all around Victoria to help with this horrific event. And also thank you to our council team that has assisted our residents in times of need as well in our relief centre. So thank you everyone. Item 3.1, adoption of minutes of previous council meeting. Councillor Wood, would you like to move that?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the Ordinary Council meeting of the 19th of September 2023.
And second, I think Councillor Tatterson just got in before Councillor Rossetti. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Happy with that, Councillor Wood?
Happy with that, Mayor.
Councillor Ripper, could I get you just to mute when you're not talking, please? We've just got a bit of background, might be coming from you.
That's the rain, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. Item 4, business arising from previous minutes, we have none. Item 5, acceptance of late or urgent items, we have none. Item 6, notices of motion, we have none. Item 7, outstanding petitions, we have none. Item 8, invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. Do we have any? Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. On Sunday, I had the privilege of attending the Maffra Golf Club for the launch of their automated irrigation system. While Sunday was the start of our fires and a significant wind event, they were able to demonstrate their ability now to water their golf course and present it in a magnificent fashion. So congratulations to them. They secured a loan from the Bendigo Bank. They raised some of their own funds and they got some funding from the Maffra Community Sports Club. So it's a great effort from that local community club to raise $800,000 and spend on their infrastructure. So it'll certainly provide a safe future. Their curator has been there for nearly 30 years and he's talking about retiring in the next few years, and he'd indicated to the Maffra Golf Club that their likelihood of getting someone who wants to haul hoses around at 3 o'clock in the morning was fairly low. So if they wanted to keep their golf course in the condition that they're used to, they needed to invest in it. And to their credit, particularly President Neville and Faye, their secretary, they've done a great job in getting the commitment of the members and the community to get on board and develop that golf club, which plays a significant role in tourism. They've got the caravan park there, so they're a really proactive group and do a great job. So congratulations to the Maffra Golf Club.
Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. And Councillor Ripper.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make an acknowledgement for the Legacy torch run. I'll just give you a little bit of background. Legacy founder Lieutenant General Sir Stanley Savage, who was born in Morwell and spent most of his young days in Curramborough. He was a decorated hero of World War I. And so when he returned from the carnage of World War I, leaving about 60,000 fellow Australians in graves and some without graves, turned to the widows and children, many of them condemned to poverty, left no one to look after them. In 1923, Savage set up Legacy Australia, which soon turned its attention to assisting the widows and children of servicemen. Veterans flocked to become legatees, those willing to help out families, keeping the flame burning for those who were lost. Moving forward 100 years later, legatees are still looking after legacy widows, many of them women these days, and many who have not served in the military but have pledged to keep the torch burning. The Legacy Centenary Torch Relay 2023 started on the 23rd of April in Pozières in France, moved on to London and then on to Australia, and has visited 44 legacy clubs in Australia, including SAIL, the North Gippsland Group of Melbourne Legacy. And we were pleased to have President McLinden, who lit the cauldron after a 5-kilometre walk around SAIL with various other members from all the legacy groups within this area. So it was an absolutely wonderful to be part of that myself as a legatee. It was wonderful, and thank you, Mayor, for your speech, and thank all those people in the Gippsland area who attended, and to all those people who attended at the RSL, and especially the local CWA ladies from SAIL who put on a wonderful lunch. So it was just an absolute privilege to be part of the Legacy 2023 Centenary Torch Run.
Well said, Councillor Ripper. It was a fantastic event to celebrate the 100 years of Legacy. Item 9, questions on notice, we have none. Item 10, the Delegates Reports. Do we have any? No. Item 11.1, Assembly of Council Report. Tell someone to move that, please.
I'm happy to
Councillor
move
Marr.
that, Mayor. I move that Council note and receive the attached Assembly of Councillor records for the period 11 September 2023 to the 24th of September 2023. And
seconded by Councillor Crossley. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Happy with that, Councillor Marr? Item 11.2, Loan for Aqua Energy Redevelopment Project and other infrastructure projects. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Tatterson.
Mayor, I'm happy to move that. Mayor, I move that Council approve the Treasury Corporation Victoria as the new source of funding for Council's infrastructure borrowing requirements, participate in the Community Sport Infrastructure Loan Scheme by the Treasury Corporation Victoria facility to borrow $10 million for the approved Aqua Energy redevelopment, use the Treasury Corporation Victoria facility for additional borrowings of $4 million to assist with funding some key capital works in line with Council's longer-term financial plan and budgeted capital works, and authorise the Chief Executive Officer to liaise and negotiate with Treasury Corporation Victoria and execute the relevant documents required to establish a Treasury Corporation Victoria borrowing facility of $14 million.
And someone to second that? Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a really important moment in Council's time. Obviously, in the June meeting, we approved the construction of the Aqua Energy redevelopment. Aqua Energy, the indoor pool, is some 51 years old, and the refurbishment is well and truly long overdue. Council's approved that refurbishment, and the cost of that is now some $23 million, of which the expectation was that we were going to take out a significant loan for that. And it's quite appropriate for long-term legacy projects that we do borrow money, because the people that will be using it in the future will also be paying for part of that loan. So while Council's paying for a large portion of it, some of it's through borrowings, which does mean the next generation or the rest of our generation pay for it, but the users of the facility will pay for that. So I think it's a really important thing that we're doing here tonight, and it certainly will be welcomed by the whole of the Wellington community who use that indoor heated pool for their health, fitness and social interaction. So it's a really important moment in Council's time.
Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. Item 11.3, Audit and Risk Committee Minutes. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Marr.
I'll move that Council 1 receive and note the minutes in brief of the Audit and Risk Committee 12 September 2023 as attached, and the confidential attachment Audit and Risk Committee minutes of 12th of September 2023, and paragraph 2 is read.
And someone to second that? Sure. Councillor Rossetti. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Marr.
Thank you, Mayor. The ARC met on the 12th of September to discuss the independent audit report, the in-principle agreement to draft financial report and the performance statement of 2022-23, and the draft annual report and final management letter. The auditor, Gordon Robertson from Crowe, was in attendance and available to answer questions asked of him by the ARC. Wellington's accounts financial statements are audited by Crowe on behalf of the Auditor General's Office, for those who weren't aware. Gordon summarised 6 key risk areas which were reviewed with no issues identified, no material audit differences or unadjusted differences were identified, and no issues of fraud or regulatory non-compliance or any identification of waste or lack of financial prudence was identified. As Councillor Stevens reported at our last meeting, the auditor advised it was a clean audit process with improvements of the financial management team being acknowledged, and I certainly say well done to that team for their due diligence and the work that they certainly put in. And an in-principle agreement to the documents was provided by the ARC, subject to any material changes prior to finalisation of those reports. So well done.
Thank you, Councillor Marr. Item 11.4, adoption of 2024 council meeting dates. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Wood. Would you be able to turn your microphone on, please, Councillor Wood? Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council adopt the 2024 council meeting dates and times as attached, and publish the 2024 council meeting dates and times on the council's website.
Someone to second that, please. Councillor Marr. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Happy with that, Councillor Wood?
Just one little thing. It's important that people know when council is meeting in case they want to come in and speak to us, and those meetings are published on the website.
Thank you, Councillor Wood. Item 12.1, Quarterly Building Report. Someone to move that, please.
I'll move that.
Councillor Marr.
I move that Council note the report of building permits issued from the 1st of April 2023 to 30th of June 2023.
And someone to second that? Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Marr.
Thank you, Mayor. 309 permits were issued. Permits issued by private building surveyors, and copies are sent to Council, which are folded and recorded on our register. The value of works totaled just above $59 million for the period of April to June. In the previous quarter, it was $41 million with 252 permits issued. The major projects in this period were SO's upgrade at Longford, broiler sheds at Rosedale, warehouses at the Wellington Parkway in Sale. There was also a supermarket extension and new office buildings also located in Sale.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Marr. Item 13.1, Unsealed Road Reconstruction, Eastern and Urban Areas. If I got someone to move that, please. Councillor Crosley.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that 1, Council adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender evaluation report of the Council meeting agenda for contract 2024-007, Unsealed Road Reconstruction, Eastern Maintenance and Urban Areas, and 2, the information contained in the confidential attached contract to 2024-007 or 007, Unsealed Road Reconstruction, Eastern Maintenance and Urban Areas, and designated confidential under Section 3, brackets 1, confidential information of the Local Government Act 2020 by the General Manager, Built and Natural Environment on the 20th of September 2023 because it relates to the following grounds. Whatever that is, to private commercial information being information provided by a business, commercial or financial undertaking that, if released, would unreasonably expose the business, commercial or financial undertaking to disadvantage. B, designated confidential information under Section 3(1), confidential information of the Local Government Act 2020, except that once this recommendation has been adopted, the name of the successful tender can be made public.
Well done, and seconded by Councillor Marr. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Before I go back to Councillor Crosley, I'd like to announce the successful tender as Bensdale Road Service Proprietary Limited. Congratulations.
I'll just, as the 2 subsequent motions are pertaining to a similar thing, I'll wait till after that.
Great idea, Councillor Crosley. So item 13.2, Unsealed Road Reconstruction, Western Maintenance Area. Councillor Crosley.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that 1, Council adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender evaluation report of the Council meeting agenda for contract 2024-008, Unsealed Road Reconstruction, Western Maintenance Area, and as the information to follow is very similar to the first, take point 2 as read.
And someone to second that? Councillor Marr. Don't all be shy, you lot. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. And before I go back to Councillor Crosley, I'd like to announce the successful tenderer as Whelan's Group Investments Proprietary Limited. Congratulations.
We'll move on to 13.3.
Move on. Item 13.3, Unsealed Road Reconstruction, Southern Maintenance Area. Councillor Crosley, would you like to move that as well?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that 1, Council adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender evaluation report of the Council meeting agenda for contract 2024-009, Unsealed Road Reconstruction, Southern Maintenance Area, and take 2 as read.
And someone to second that? Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. And I'd like to announce the successful tenderer as Bensdale Road Services Pty Limited. Congratulations. Councillor Crosley.
Thank you. As it says in the background there, council has a maintenance responsibility for a considerable, 1,560 kilometres of unsealed roads, and as part of the good management practice that we conduct regular maintenance of our gradual roads for reconstruction and reseating, and the criteria is of the roads are assessed and with traffic volumes and maintenance required, and as we group these roads that meet that requirement in groups of location, and this time we've broke them up into 3 separate contracts to optimise the maintenance in a timely and appropriate cost-effective manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Any online comments, Mr CEO?
None.
None? And we have no one in the gallery, so we need to move into closed session. Can I have someone to do that, please?
Yes, certainly, Mayor. I'm happy to do that. I move that the meeting be closed to public pursuant to Section 66(2) of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider matters under Section 66(5)(b) as defined by Section 3(1), being F, personal information being information which, if released, would result in the unreasonable disclosure of information about any person or their personal affairs.
And someone to second that? Ooh, that was tight. I think Councillor Crosley by a whisker. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. So we'll now move into closed session.
No.